Welcome to Eight Questions with. I'm your host, Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View. I will be joined by a special co host today, Josh, aka Hobbs Horror, aka Mr. Spooktacular himself. My co pilot on the Midnight Hour. He'll be joining us to help us out with here to help us out with the interview with Mr. Courtney Gains, who is a horror legend. If you're a horror fan and you don't know who Courtney Gains is, he has starred in the iconic film Children of the Corn, the Children of the Corn series, where he played Malachi. Malachi, was it Malachi? Yeah, I think it was. Now, I have to admit, it's been a minute for me since I've seen Children of the Corn. I actually saw it at the theater, the very first one. That tells you how old I am. That starred Peter Horton and Linda Hamilton. How about that, kids? Actually, I think that was Peter Horton's only. I want to say it was only, as far as I know, his only lead feature. And Children of the Corn is based off a short story by Stephen King, which was different than the movie was different than the story. Hi Amanda, hello Jennifer. Wow, cool, so cool. Thank you guys for coming out early. That'll be awesome. So happy that our guests will have people here waiting for them. That's awesome. Cannot thank you enough for that. I was just talking about the background for our guest. Oh, holy cow! Yeah, that's right. 12 o'clock. It's not that late for our friends in England. Welcome, Vaz. How are you, sir? Vasim's in the house. We are up a little early.
Vasim's in the house.
Oops. Let me turn down my sound here. I'm here up a little early because I'm trying to share us out. So if you want to help out, that'd be awesome. Hobbs will be here in about 10 minutes or so, and our guest will be here at 2 o'clock. So the Children of the Corn story was a short story at a night shift. Yeah, he played Malachi. That was actually his first role. His debut movie was actually Children of the Corn, and he was really strong in that. He also has done. He also did right after that. He did a CBS School Break special. So one hand you're coming out as a crazy teen, he who walks behind the rows, and your next row is you're doing a after school special. That's pretty awesome. But Children of the Corn was a short story. It wasn't very long. Had a really typical Stephen King ending where both people died. But they changed it up in the movie. Peter Horton and Linda Hamilton's characters both lived. They both survived. Hi, Phil. Hey, Night Watch. Holy cow! All right, we got ourselves a party here. It's our buddy Phil here. So we're up a little early. We're trying to share out the stream if we possibly can. Let folks know. Hobbs will be here shortly. He is also working on sharing us out. And then Courtney will be here at 2 o'clock. And we have him for about 45 minutes. So we're gonna ask some questions. I'm gonna make sure that we open it up for questions from you guys in the chat. I guarantee you, for at least the last 20 minutes or so, we are gonna open it up. 15 minutes or so, we're gonna open it up so you guys can ask some questions. Yeah. So we got fans of the Burbs. We got fans of Children of the Corn. We got fans of Back to the Future. He also popped up on 21 Jump Street. and Starman. So he's got some Can't Buy Me Love, Colors with Sean Penn and Robert Duvall. So he's got some. He's also was on the well-known World War II movie with Memphis Belle, which starred a bunch of young stars. Sean Astin and Matthew Modine being among them. So Courtney Gains has got himself quite a career here. Between between what he's done and what he's doing now. Now he's going to be starring in he had an important cameo in a movie called Queen Bees that just came out. We'll be asking him about that. And he's also a very talented musician that I don't think a lot of people know that. Hey, Michael, how are you, sir? We're just here a little early. If you could share us out, that would be awesome. We're up a little early for that. Um, that'll be awesome. Oh, hello, video tasties. That's the first I've seen you. How are you? Welcome to Eight Questions with. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, they call it Disciples of the Corn. Yeah, it was Children of the Corn. The original short story was Children of the Corn, and He Who Walks Behind the Rose. Um, he revisited that theme. Waffles. Oh, I see. Oh, nice, nice. I love it. Thank you so much, Michael. Very good. Thank you. Have I ever met the man behind the Lederhosen? Um, I don't know who the Lederhosen. I know that Lederhosen is German for it's a German sock. So I'm not really sure about that. Now you do know this is only part one of today's extravaganza because we're interviewing Courtney Gains today, right now. But at 8 o'clock, we are coming back. We are coming back because we're interviewing Hannah Fierman from the movie VHS and also from the movie Siren. So she played Lily the succubus, the girl who went around and told you that she liked you, which you did never want to hear. If Lily comes up and says, "I like you," you best be running. Um, but she's lovely. She's very sweet, very popular on the convention. Holy cow! I mean, I was amazed. Looking at doing my pre-show. People absolutely love Hannah. She's such a sweet young lady and a very talented actress. Um, in my opinion, she's just as much as a horror icon as Courtney is. Even though Courtney's got more roles, but as far as iconic goes, Lily is pretty damn iconic. Um, I'm really hoping that she will get a shot to come back for the new VHS movie. Um, so we are really, really disciples of the corn. Disciples of the crow. Yeah, I think they put it as children of the corn in the short story though. Um, as Stephen King was that what they were going to call it in the original for the movie? I could see that. It was one of his early. It was one of the early efforts to get Stephen King out there. And they had Peter Horton was a rising star, and of course Linda Hamilton had done Terminator, and so they thought that was going to be like magic, and it did okay. I mean, it did okay. Uh, Peter Horton went on to do 30 something, or yeah, 30 something. Oh my gosh, see, oh, that's why we have Hobbs here. Hobbs is king of the 80s. So Hobbs is going to ask about the 80s. I know Children of the Corn, and as far as his older work, I do. Yeah, he was very iconic in that. Uh, Between him and John Franklin, John Franklin was in that movie as well. Um, Very effective. All right. Uh, Courtney has revisited his role as Mordecai. He also made an appearance as Mordecai in a movie off of Wild Eye called Hell's Kitty, which was a love letter to all things horror. As there were several well-known horror actors and actresses that were iconic, that did iconic roles, um, who popped up in it and their characters. Uh, yeah. The original movie is Disciple of the Crow, but the remember Phil, the short story became before the movie, and the short story was called Children of the Corn. Yeah, that's definitely. I love the. Did you read the? Did you read the novel? Did you read that collection of short stories, Phil? It had the hand with all the eyes on it. It was my first Stephen King collection. I had already read The Stand and I had read Carrie, but that was my first collection. And he wrote a story in that book called oh no, that was Night Shift. Or was it Night Shift? Yeah. Night Shift had two different covers on it. And in the Night Shift, there's another short story that was really good. They ended up making a movie out of it called Trucks or Battleground. Battleground. They called it Battleground. And then they made it into a short story on dreamscapes and nightmares, and had William Hurt in it, and that was good. Great short story. Um, wow. All right, we already got 8 in the chat. Then he's gonna walk inside to a crowd. I'm really happy for that. Thank you guys so much. It means so much. And the King of Spectacular is coming real shortly. That might be. I I don't know. Video. You know what? That Yeah, because cocaine up till the middle of the 80s was actually fine. People, it was acceptable, even though they were killing themselves and blowing out their noses. Studio 54, baby. Yeah. Disciples of the Crow. Yes, to see it. Now, are there now, and hopefully there are crows in the movie, because you know how that goes. Um, yeah. Oh, yes, we definitely will. Disciples of the Crow. Oh, long day today. A friend of mine got he's just started to show up in the community. He's my best friend here. My buddy Romy, who you guys know as Catfish. Yeah, he got really sick yesterday, and so I'm just hoping that things work out. And so far so good, but very scary. He could have lost his life. But he's hanging in there. So if you guys want to give some prayers for him, I'd be grateful. He had a stroke, so um, I haven't really operated on too much sleep today, so I might be a little punch drunk. I'm, but I'm very excited to meet Courtney Gains. He he's doing he has a he I saw him do when I was doing my prep. He was very excited about his role in Queen Bees because he got to act with some legends himself. So he was very excited about that. You have to ask. I'm gonna have to ask an actor, an actor with his cachet. You want to know if like is there anybody he's ever met? Which is one of my questions is has he ever met anybody that he's now that he's like always wanted to work with, and like does he ever have like a reaction, a fanboy reaction, like oh my god, I'm acting with this person. I mean, this is like a this is an amazing talent. Um, or does it just business as usual? I have to think that I think some actors get a little starstruck. I think it's natural. I mean, I worked for 10 years in live music, and I can tell you right now, there was a few times I got starstruck. You guys go to conventions. When you guys meet somebody at a convention, I'm sure you guys are a little starstruck. I think it's cool that as we get older, we still have that. We're not jaded. We still get really excited about meeting somebody like a Courtney Gains. Like, holy crow. Uh, the interview will start at 2 o'clock. So yeah, he will be here at 2, and we'll be hitting the run. We'll be hitting the ground running. He's got a new film coming out. Actually came out this month called River, where he plays Dr. Michael Glenn. Um, and he's got a ton of new stuff coming up. He's filming a movie called American Bigfoot. Um, there's some movies that are in post production, means they're being edited and scored and uh, you know dubbed. Um, including this one sounds really funny. Um, my redneck neighbor. Uh, One called Hellblazers that looks really interesting. Um, this one looks horror called The Bleeding Dark, which that sounds really cool. I want to take a look at that. Oh wow! So yeah, that one has Courtney and Eileen Dietz from The Exorcist coming together. Um, Another horror icon who starred in The Exorcist, and looks like they're leading the cast of Young Unknowns, which is good. This is, that's always a good thing to do. Get a couple of veterans and then put a young cast together. All right, let's see who we got here. Oh my gosh, it's Hobbs, the king of spectacular. All right. Oh, are you there, Hobbs? Can't hear you. Let me back out and come back in. There we go. We still can't hear Hobbs. Can you guys hear me okay? Or yeah, we can't hear you, Hobbs. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I don't know who Gavin is, but as soon as I track you down, you're out of here. Shall return. Uh, um, well, don't worry, Jennifer. We have the secret. We have our ace. Don't forget, we have ace. We have two ace. I got the member. I got the fourth member of the Night Watch Zone on speed dial, and Night knows who that is. And we got the Cheetah. So between the two of us, between the four of us, I think we can handle this. I hope. I got to figure out how to do this the wrenches thing. Um, so when Hobbs gets back, I'm going to have him show me how to do that. That's right, Knight. You got it. Uh, yeah, Courtney should be here any second. Um, yeah, I just want to say also, I want to say thank you to Rachel Michelle from October Coast for helping me set up this interview. Um, wouldn't have happened without Rachel. So I'd like to say thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk to Courtney. Um, and I do hope that is something that we will be working with together with some other actors and actresses down the line. Um, really enjoyed working with her, putting this together. And oh my God. Uh, so yeah, I'm really happy about that she was able to hook us up with this interview. Yeah, and I'd like to sit there and say that we were the first, but there's also an interview that Courtney did a couple of weeks ago with Reject Films that I'm also going to put up on the description because the more support we show Courtney, the better. And Dan from Reject Films he had a chance to interview Courtney, and let's see who this is. Oh, there he is, the man of the hour.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Courtney. Welcome. Welcome to 8 Questions.
That's it? All right.
Oh, gosh. If you really think that's the case, you know that's not going to happen. Oh, I'm waiting for a co-host, but while we do, we'll get it going. So welcome. Glad to see you. Glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
People in the chat here are very happy to see you.
Excellent.
Oh, hi, Joe. We'll just get right into it since we don't have it very long. I thought you and I will talk like for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to turn around and give the chat a chance to ask you a lot of questions because they will.
Cool.
So now I already know, though, if you don't mind, I know you're probably already, I already know the first question, but I'm gonna swerve you up on you, and I'm not gonna ask about the obvious because I don't do that. I want to talk about Queen Bees.
Nice. All right.
So I guess that movie, that seems like a really fun movie.
Yeah. So I only did a cameo in it, but I got to work with Ellen Bernstein, Ann-Margret, Jane Curtin, and Loretta Devine. Hey, how you doing? So that was I wasn't gonna pass up that opportunity. I figured that was a once in a lifetimer, you know.
That's with you included, that's some awesome talent there. Think about that. I mean,
that's why I'm having
serious heavyweight.
Yeah. It was fascinating to get to watch those actresses work. The first half of the scene, I'm just watching them. So the first half of the day, I just got to watch these iconic actresses do their thing, and that was something to watch.
I was mentioning before while we were waiting for you to. We was doing a little warm up, and one of the things I wanted to do was ask you do you ever get like starstruck when you work with some of your peers? I mean, you ever walk onto a set and say, "Holy cow, I get to do a scene with Ellen Burstyn," or
Oh, sure. You just have to shake it off and do your job. But I was excited meeting them, and it was when I got introduced to them all, it was so sweet. Jane Curtin was like, "I know you. You're in everything," and that just put me at ease. So sweet of her to say.
Yeah, she's not wrong. She's not far wrong. I mean, your resume is most impressive.
Thank you. But it's nice to hear Jane Curtin say that.
Yeah, Jane Curtin has had a really nice career as well.
An original Saturday Night Liver. It doesn't get better than that, man. In the world of comedy, that's like the Harvard of comedy right there.
Yeah, she's done very well for herself. But so have you. I got a kick out of seeing on your how you did Children of the Corn, and then now did you do this before or after? Was Children of the Corn your very first thing you did, or
first feature? Yeah.
Okay, so you did the CBS school after school special.
I did that after. Well, nobody ever asked about that. That I have fond memories of that because my mother did an extra bit in that. She's in the background in the cafeteria, working in the cafeteria in one of the scenes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I was looking at it one like, oh, there he is. He's acted in an iconic horror film movie that's legendary, and the next thing he's done is it's after school special. I mean, you can't get much more separate, or different from that.
I think the second thing I did was Hard Bodies because that was sort of waiting for me when I got back. The director, Mark Griffith, I'd studied in a class that him and Gino Havens, the casting director of Hard Bodies, were involved in, and Mark Griffith had rewritten that part kind of to fit me. I still had to audition, but it was sort of like as long as I didn't completely blow it, I was going to get the job, So I think Hard Bodies was I'm trying to remember when I did the afternoon special, but I know Hard Bodies was second. I literally came back from Iowa, having shot Corn, came back to LA, and then we're shooting on Venice Beach, like a couple weeks later.
One of our fans in the chat, Phil's Creepy Vids, said, what was the film originally called? Was it Disciples of the Crows, or was it always Children of the Corn, or was it two separate?
No, it was always Children of the Corn. I didn't even know there was a possible other title. I just noticed that from a Stephen King short story from the Night Shift book.
Yeah, that's I remember too. I actually saw that movie in the theater.
Nice, me too.
Yeah. I was that old. I'm not old. I went because I had Peter Horton and Linda Hamilton in it, and I remember.
I saw it on Hollywood Boulevard there was no premiere, so I saw it on opening night on Hollywood Boulevard with my family and friends, and I was petrified. And I still get nervous watching movies, but I didn't realize how nervous I was going to be. It was pretty. And then to see your head, 40 feet large, never feels normal. To be honest, it's pretty crazy.
Do you like watching yourself work?
It's hard. It's hard. I do though. I mean, I want to see the movie is what it really comes down to. But I have to watch the movie about 3 times to have any objectivity toward my performance, because it's always so weird to see yourself behaving and acting differently than you normally would. And then I'm reminding of everything that went on, like, the big fight scene at the end in Children of the Corn. All I ever think about is it was like 3 a.m. and we were freezing our asses off. That's what I remember, literally shivering, so it's hard to be present to what you're watching when you're thinking of all the things that you experienced doing it. So it takes me like 3 times to get any kind of objectivity.
So I want to introduce myself. My name is Hobbs. I'm Hobbs Horror. I just want to thank you for joining us.
Right on.
I've been looking forward to this for ever since I heard about it. So thank you.
Very cool.
So sorry for I'm late, and I dropped my mic.
Early.
My
no
camera.
Worries. No worries.
I'm actually a fan of a lot of the work in addition to the horror, like Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, we shot that in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I think the school had just opened. And so the first part we were shooting it before the school opened, and then the second half there was actual school going on, which was kind of crazy. But it was like brand new. It was a brand new school. Lost him again.
Did you stay in touch with your castmates after your movies? Because I read about Amanda Peterson. She seemed to have a really rough time after it, and really struggled. And did you stay in touch with her, or did you?
No, not really. Everybody always says afterward you're going to do so, but most of the time it doesn't happen. I've never been that good at keeping in touch with people, but I wasn't around. When she went through her rough times. I mean, she started dating famous rock and rollers and stuff, and that's when I think she started going down the wrong path.
Right. I mean, it must have been sad though to hear about it. I mean,
of course, because she was only 16 when she did that movie. The rest of us were actually of legal age, and she handled herself beautifully on that film. And so her career was doing well for a while. She seemed very mature, so it was surprised. You just never know who's going to go. Drugs. Drugs will. It doesn't matter. You can have 5 degrees, or you can be. It doesn't matter. Drugs don't care. Drugs don't care how talented you are, how smart you are. They don't care.
Nope. I was gonna say that was such a powerful role, I feel, for you in that film too. I felt like really emotional, like with your part.
I like to tell the story about obviously the famous line that quoted for you shit on my house. There was a whole speech that came with that, that was like, you are my friend, I did it for free. And I don't like what they call extemporaneous comp. I don't like it's stuff that writers like to use to explain themselves. But as an actor, I don't like it because in real life, you don't do it. So by that time, the director had a lot of faith in me, and we did a rehearsal. He said, well, what do you think of this scene? I said, I would cut all this dialogue out. He's like, oh, really? What did you say? I said, I'd say 1 line. You shit on my house. That's it. It says it all. He's like, okay, let's do it. And so we did it, and it ended up being a very powerful scene. And then when Touchstone picked it up from this company called Apollo Films, the suits wanted to get rid of the scene. They thought it was too intense for a little, a romantic comedy. And the producer of Apollo Films, this guy named Jerry Henshaw, who had been around for a long time, big dude, he stood up and he started pounding on the desk. And he said, you're not taking that freaking scene out of my freaking movie. Do you understand? And the suits backed down, and thank God they did, because it gave the movie some depth,
It was very powerful. I'll never forget that role. That was I just absolutely love that movie. I watch it all the time. All the time.
I'm proud of it for sure.
Yeah. And then the Klopex, the Burbs.
Yes,
Can't get enough of that either. I'm just so glad. I'm so glad to have you on. That's great.
I'm the last of the Klopex. That's kind of scary into itself.
Yeah.
The late great brother Theodore and Henry Gibson. I mean, proud to work with that guy. I mean, I watched him coming up on Laugh-In and Blues Brothers, and so and he couldn't have been a sweeter guy. And Brother Theodore is a much more intelligent man than he gives off with his characters. He's a very, very smart guy.
I hear that. Definitely. But so yeah, Can't Buy Me Love. I just did you have to get yourself into that mode for that scene? where he walks up to you and you're at the pinball machine and you just get angry like that?
Honestly, I could. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I couldn't wait to dig into him at that point. Patrick Dempsey's a fine actor, but he was doing some things. He pissed me off, and he tried to sort of evoke some things out of me that I don't like when anybody messes with me as an actor. It's like, let me try to do it myself first. And then if I don't get there, then you want to do something to mess with me or help me get there? Great. But otherwise, get out of my way. And so by that time, I was ready to jack him up against that machine. And he readily recognized this. Later when we did Sweet Home Alabama, we got to clean all that up, But he was very serious about his craft even then. And he's a fine actor. But I was at that point. I was a little pissed off at him, so I couldn't wait to jack him up against that.
I felt it. I still feel it when I watch it. I'm like, damn.
You got to use what's going on. As an actor, you use what's in front of you. If you have something, the character's feeling betrayed. I'm annoyed at him. Put it to work. Yeah,
absolutely.
I noticed one thing, Courtney, for sure, is that you were able to seam really easily between features and TV, and not everybody can do that.
Yeah, I kind of, I went through that 80s, teenage 80s run that was really good. And then when I kind of came out the other side of it, I was, there was sort of no 20-something roles, and I had to sort of figure out what I was going to do with myself. So I figured in television guest star stuff, I could play bad guys. So I grew the hair out again, combed it back, grew a goatee. And for like a decade, I played a lot of Mad Dogs, and it kept me busy, kept me working, kept food on the table,
Right, right. Yeah, because you have to, and more importantly, it didn't necessarily typecast you.
Matter of fact, I was given some of the most challenging roles I've ever been offered have actually been guest stars on television. I talk about one of them, Diagnosis Murder. I played a character who was paralyzed on one side and pretending to have cerebral palsy on the other, and I had less than a week to put that together. I actually had less than 12 hours to the audition, But even recently, the last Criminal Minds, I played a very complicated character, episode called My Brother's Keeper, where you think I'm the unsub, what they call the unsub, the bad guy, and I'm not. I'm actually protecting my brother. But this character is like homeless, and he's got PTSD, and he's like, his mind is like, he's going a lot of places, and it was tough to figure out. But I'll get those jobs in television because they're the hard ones. They sort of separate the men from the boys, and they need somebody who can actually execute that job. And I may not always be the biggest name, but when it comes to the hardest roles, they know I'm the guy who'll get it done.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to be known for, because you go to a show like Criminal Minds, and it has a lot of history. There's a level of excellence for it.
Absolutely.
And you got to come in and bring an A game right away.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was a great opportunity, and I was glad to do it.
So how do you prepare for a role? What's your process?
Well, essentially, I'm a method guy. I've studied all the methods. Stanislavski and Uta Hagen, and basically, I work from the inside out. Right? And if I have to tap stuff of my own pain, I will. We all have life experience is the thing that Sanford Meisner. I've also studied Meisner technique. He said anybody can be taught to act, but what most actors lack is life experience. And there's some truth to that, but I do have some, and if I can use it, if I need to use it to get me anywhere I got to go. Let's just use this as an example. Say you're supposed to be crying in the scene about something, and you just can't get there, but you can go cry about your dog you lost when you were a child. That'll get you going. That'll get the mood conjuring, and then you can drop into the scene. So I have a whole tool bag of tricks and methods I can use, because every project's different. And you just don't know what you're going to need. This is a strange example, but like I did a CD-ROM game, the first video game with human beings called Wing Commander 3. And it was shot entirely on green screen. And we were supposed to be seeing these giant things called Kilrathias that were like 8-foot cats. And everybody was struggling because we were basically looking at nothing the entire time. Well, wow. I had some techniques to create something to see. I wasn't great at it, but I was better. Everybody else had no technique, so it's like the more things you have that you can use, depending on the project, the better. But I don't know. I kind of call it hitting when you say, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to hit the bullseye. I'm not trying to do more or less than what the writer's done. I'm trying to take what the writer's written, and if it's 2-dimensional, I'm trying to make it 3 or 4-dimensional. I'm trying to make it, a human being, and if I'm lucky, when I read it, if it's written well, I start to hear a voice. I start to hear a rhythm, and that's a really good place to start from.
Did you have to take any particular type of take yourself to a place being one of the Klopeks? Did you have to
the thing with the Klopeks? The thing with the Klopeks was he was a stranger in a strange land, right? That's what it was. And so the main linchpin I used was another technique called animal essence, where you choose an animal. Dustin Hoffman does it in every role. If you watch Hoffman from Ratso Rizzo on, you'll see he's using an animal if you're looking for it. So what I used for that character was a deer in the headlights, which is that if you think about it, you'll see it. It's there,
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was. He was a fish out of water, The hardest challenge was everywhere I looked were actors I grew up on and admired. That was the hardest. That was the hardest thing to shake off. So I had to just I don't know Tom Hanks. I don't know Carrie Fisher. I don't know Bruce Stern. I don't know these people.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, you wouldn't have known that. You were so spot on in that role too, that you wouldn't have known there was any intimidation at all or any nervousness.
Yeah. It wasn't intimidation or nerves. They were actually all really great with me. As a matter of fact, Bruce Dern was kind of took me under his wing and really acknowledged the kind of work I was doing. It wasn't that. It was just I knew them from my childhood, so it was even that much harder to shake off that I did not know. Not only did not know them from the country we were from, but I did not know them at all. That's what it was.
Yeah, because when you're slamming the trash and stuff, I was like, man, he's getting that Kenneth in him now. From Can't Buy Me, he's pissed.
Yeah, that just came out. Sometimes you're doing a physical thing and something happens. I didn't plan for it to get so aggressive, but after a while of doing it over and over again, it just happened. And that's
I thought the people.
That's what
they're like, man, he was stealing that bag.
When things surprise you, that's the best. You're doing something you don't even think you're going to do. That's the best.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that. They're like, he was destroying that bag. We really thought there was a dead body in there.
Right. That sort of became the idea. Exactly. So.
Awesome.
How do you disengage from a character after you're done with it?
It's a good questions, man. People don't really ask me about my acting technique per se. I wish people did more because I love the process and so I don't get to talk about it much. So I have a ritual that I do at this point because I had to answer that very question. How do you wind these things down? Can't Buy Me. I mean, Children of the Corn. How I did it was there was a rap party and I drank Everclear, which is 160 proof that you can't get in LA. And I danced with every girl and woke up the next morning without a hangover. I don't know how, and it was gone. But it was sort of like an intuitive thing I did. I just sort of burned him out of there. But typically, what I do, honestly, when I'm in my trailer, when it's all done, I look in the mirror and I acknowledge myself. I applaud until I'm done applauding. And sometimes it takes 2 minutes. Sounds cheesy, but it's a way of saying end cycle. This is over, and acknowledge myself for the work I did. I said, did you do your best? You did your best. Let it go.
Right. I love it. No, I love it. I love it.
Works. That's a great answer.
Yeah, everybody has their thing, that they do.
So let's go back to Queen Bee because I'm pretty excited about that for you. And also brings up another question. I talked about this with I heard a director mention this, and it's always it's common in our community as well, and that is a lot of times a lot of productions will use you. They'll have you come in and do a scene to use you to sell a movie. Mm-hmm. I saw you in Camp Colebrook. And you had one scene, but they advertised you as being, a name because they're basically, they're trading it on your cachet from your, from your horror work.
Correct.
Is that really frustrating for you?
It's not in that in those like Camp Colebrook and Funhouse Massacre were the same guys, and they were offers. So if they offer me a job and they pay me reasonably, I don't mind because I didn't have to audition, and it's people that want to work with me, and hopefully, like I said, I ended up working for them a few times now. But I understand what they're doing, sure. But certainly Queen Bees, that's not the case. there's a plethora of James Caan, Christopher Lloyd, just a great older cast. So how I got Queen Bees was Michael Lembeck, the director. He and his sister Helene Lembeck teach a comedy workshop that their father started back in the '60s. Harvey Lembeck Comedy Workshop. Harvey Lembeck had a pretty prolific career as himself in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they carry it on. It's a situational comedy class, and I did it for a few years. So when I heard he had this job, I just said, "Hey, you got anything?" And he found something for me, and I was just, like I said, even though it was not a big part, to get a chance to work. Like I said, I figured when am I ever going to get to work with Ann-Margret again? I mean, what's the odds of that, right? So there was no way I was going to pass that up.
I'm sure she's still quite a looker.
For her age, she's amazing, right? She's still beautiful,
I wanted to touch base on the Funhouse Massacre. That was filmed. Part of that was filmed close to my hometown. I'm in Dayton, Ohio, right now.
Yeah, it's what was it? Not yet. It's very close to Dayton.
Middletown, Ohio.
Huh?
Middletown, Ohio.
Middletown. There you go. Middletown, Ohio. Yeah, we shot at Land of Illusions, right?
Land of Illusions. Yep.
Giant, the biggest horror place I think I've ever seen, and I've worked at many of them. This thing has 4 or 5 separate events, and they have like 4 or 5. They have like 4 different people who manage each one with their own cast. This thing's massive. Yes, it was a perfect place to shoot that project.
Yep, I'm literally 15 minutes from there, and I go there every year. Every year I'm there. So
produced and shot a movie called Candy Corn that came out a couple years ago. That was the director's also out of Ohio, and we shot near there as well.
Yep, Candy Corn was fantastic. I'm a Halloween nut. Anything Halloween, I'm all about it.
Yeah, Candy Corn came out pretty good. Nice role for me. As I'm getting older, starting to play the sheriff now. Started out as the punk kid. Now I'm the guy. You got to be. When you're this age, you got to be the sheriff, the psychiatrist, or you got to be something established.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. It's funny you mentioned the older roles because as far as becoming the sheriff or whatnot, because I want to talk to you about your new film that you released called River.
Yeah.
It looks really it looks pretty intense.
It's interesting, it's a psychological sci-fi thriller is how it's being described, which is a pretty good description. And it's a small piece. We shot it during the pandemic in North Carolina, and it only has five characters. And the story's about the lead character, River, coming back home after her mother mysteriously passes away. And then she starts to have time lapses. And so she starts to think she's losing her mind. And I play a character named Dr. Michael Glenn, who sort of has 3 roles he plays in the priest. First is he's a close friend of the family, so he's there to console her on that level. She also works at his antique shop where they sell jams, homemade jams and things from the small town. But he's also the local town psychiatrist. And so when she starts having these time lapses, he's like, hey, if you need to, so she's willing to talk to him to try to figure it out. So you get to see him in sort of 3 different lights in a way, in one role. And it's a nice different role for me, very earthy, very loving, had a nice long COVID beard, very different look. So, but yeah, the fact that as an independent film, they got it distributed within under a year is just unheard of. And Emily Skye, the director, she's really an auteur filmmaker. She wrote it, she directed it. She also was the cinematographer, did a fabulous job using natural light, and she also is the editor. So she this is her coming out party, and I think she's going to get more work, and I hope I get to work with her again.
That was going to be one of my other questions: is how did you handle the pandemic, and what did you do to stay busy besides shooting River?
if you'll see behind me, guitars, right? At least one guitar now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
That was a lot of it. I had been talking about doing an acoustic record for a long time, and once the pandemic sort of happened, I'm like, well, number one, I'm facing mortality. Number two, I have time on my hands. And so I started to do research and realized you could put a home studio together just for the purposes of tracking really cheap nowadays. You get this little audio box, you plug it in your computer, it gives you a system to do tracking, a condenser mic or two, and you're in business. So I started doing that and put out this record now called Acoutic Gains Vol.1, and I just put out the third single last week called Let It Ride, very vintage bluesy sounding tune. And I did one of the movies, another project I did during the pandemic called My Redneck Neighbors, and I always say, who do you think played the redneck neighbor? Me.
Yeah, I saw that. I was looking over.
They just picked up the song, so that was nice. That's nice.
Oh,
They
nice.
liked it. I play a bit of music in the movie, and so they picked up a couple tunes, which is very cool. But I also have a band called Ripple Street, and we end up tracking. Now I can do vocals here and send WAV files there, and just make things happen. And our third single we put out is called "Would You." That came out a couple weeks ago, and to say it sounds Black Sabbath-esque, I think is fair. It's definitely like kind of hard rock, a little bit of an edge to it.
Right.
And we got 2 more songs where I just finished my vocal tracks on that we got to put out, and then we're gonna have an EP for Ripple Street. So doing a lot of music between acting gigs, doing a lot of music.
Yeah, I listened to. I took a listen to Acoutic Gains Vol.1. I come from a music background, so listening to it, I was pretty impressed. I love the acoustic. I love acoustic music. I do. I like it because to me it's like it's music at its barest. It really is.
Yeah, I do. I've done most of my writing on acoustic guitar. I was taught, if it sounds good on an acoustic guitar or piano, the bones are good. You can go from there. But I grew up listening to a lot of '70s music, a lot of soft rock, whatever, and a lot of guitar, or even Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, where acoustic guitar was a predominant thing, and it's you just don't hear it anymore now. Now it's all it's all electronics. So I'm definitely hearkening back to to my own childhood and listening to stuff I still listen to. Still, another person I quote a lot, that I'm not saying my music's anything like her, but a big fan of, is Janice Ian. A lot of people don't talk about her anymore, but her first record, Between the Lines, is to me one of the greatest folk music female records I think ever done. Just so honestly painful. And for me, music a lot of times it's a place for me to vent my pain. Lots of breakup songs, lots of those. A place to vent what you're going to. I can articulate something in a song a lot of times better than I can in my own words, to be honest.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you who some of your inspirations were for your music. Some of your favorites.
I sort of approach it the same way I do as acting, where I can definitely be inspired by people, but I know that I can't duplicate them, so I don't even try. Like I certainly think Brando's one of the greatest actors God ever made, but I know very clearly I'm not going to be Brando. So you have to find your own voice, and that's really the way. I love Led Zeppelin, I love Rush, but I'm never going to be as good as those dudes. It's just not going to happen. So what I really hang my hat on is the ability to write a song. And for me, it's trying to connect, just like I am as an actor. My strongest thing is connecting emotionally to things. So that's the same thing I'm trying to do when I write material, whether it starts with a lyric, but then I find a progression that goes with that, or I'm playing a progression, and from that feeling, find a lyric that goes with that. It's just connecting to something on an emotional level. That's where I think I have an edge, as it were. Because the musicianship, there's just so many amazing singers and amazing guitar players and amazing writers out there.
I was going to ask you if you could sit and write a song with 3 different, what 3 people would you sit and love to have a chance to write a song with?
Janice Ian would be my number one, and I would be completely intimidated, to be honest. But she's still alive, so. I've been putting it out lately. Like, I hope to meet her. She like I said, I'm just a big fan. Who else would I like? like to write a song. Neil Young. I'd like to write a song with Neil Young. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, such a. You know, I've seen Neil a couple times live. You know, again, he's not like. What I love about him is he's not like the shreddingest guitar player in the world, right? But
I don't know. I was thinking Ark Weld.
It's so tasty though. It's so tasty though. You know what I mean? It's like it's like it's got this feel to it, you know, and that's what, like, you know, I mean, I'm not saying he's not a good songwriter, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, but it's you can't, that tasty. Some people got tasty and some people don't, you know, and he's his band, man, Rust Never Sleeps, man, they got it.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome album. I have Ark Weld, the double live album. To me, it just blows the doors off of most, you know, even today's music. I would put Ark Weld up against most anything.
My son went to some big concert in LA a few years ago, and it had Neil Young, Bob Dylan, and the Beatles bass player. How could I not think of the name of the Beatles bass player?
Was it Harrison?
No, the bass player, McCartney. And McCartney, and he said Neil Young blew the doors off everybody.
Yeah.
Neil Young is solid, absolutely. I have a weird thing to ask you. So, growing up, I had a lot of friends that were terrified of Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any fans that were like absolutely terrified to be around you, or like anything like that?
I've had children run the other way crying to their parents. I've had people come up to me and tell me they still have nightmares at conventions. There are people who start to sweat as they come up to me, and their hearts are pounding 1,000 miles an hour. Yeah. Jeez. No, it's gotten into the, you know, some people's subconscious pretty deep. Yeah.
I knew some friends that had that thought and feeling.
But that's what I love about the conventions, is it's always an opportunity to sort of ease that up, right?
Yes.
I mean, literally, there's been girls who are like shaking, you know, and it's just like, you know, give them a hug or whatever, and that goes away, you know.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity to sort of heal that fear, you know.
Yeah, people. I was terrified of Malachi. I'm like, maybe you should meet him and get past it, you know. Maybe.
Yeah.
But, that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're 30 minutes into the interview, and I really, really want to give a chance to our chat to ask you some questions. They've been patiently waiting, and you guys, it's your ball game. Start cranking out the questions for Courtney, and please do. I know that a lot of people said they really enjoy your work, and so yep. So go ahead and start sending your questions, and we'll start taking them one by one. So are you planning to tour off of Ripple Street?
We got to talk about it. Like I said, we got these last 2 songs to track, and then we've got a finish. Then we got an EP, and then now that things are opening up, we got to see if we can do something. So we're in the midst of chatting about it. But I guess while we're waiting, I could talk about a couple other projects that are coming out. One is a horror film called Await the Dawn, just came out on Amazon Prime. That's got Dee Wallace and Vernon Wells and myself. And then I have another movie called Charming the Hearts of Men that's coming out August 13th. That's a movie set in the 50s, and it's about this woman. She was a debutante, based on a real story. She was a debutante. Her father passed away. She found out he didn't have any money. She had to take a job at this diner, and it kind of woke up her eyes to the civil rights sort of stuff that was happening in the South. And she had allowed a sit-in in this diner where it's my character, Mr. Spratt's Diner, that caused a big ruckus and made the newspapers and everything. Long story short, she ended up getting the word women's rights put in the civil rights bill. And that's what it's based on. And I'm glad it's coming out. I think it's a pretty cool project, and I love doing period stuff. So all of a sudden, all these projects I've done over the last couple of years, like boom, 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 they're all just, you know, now that COVID's over, they're all coming out.
Absolutely. I'm going to put all those in the chat for people to look at too.
Excellent. Yeah, there's a trailer up for that one already. So.
Okay.
Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. A lot of people are starting to ask some questions. See, I truly respect Courtney's multifaceted interest. He's awesome. I agree, Knight. Let's see. Whitey the White Guy Show asks, is DB Sweeney a nice guy in person?
He's okay. He's kind of a jock, you know. That's the best way to describe him. He really wanted to be a baseball player, and So he kind of has a little bit of that jock mentality. I really wanted to play basketball against him because I wanted to see what he had there, but we didn't get a chance. But giving an example of that jock mentality, we were training. We were in this. We were at this for Memphis Belle. We did this training for a week that was like boot camp. It was like the worst. It was like we had one day that started at 3 a.m. in the morning and went to 3 a.m. at night, and we had this moat that we literally were supposed to go across. It was shallow. And they said, don't dive. And DB dived, and he had a knot on his head the size of a baseball. I kid you not. And they wouldn't let us go for him to go to the hospital. They thought he was being difficult because the guys training were telling the people, "Oh no, he's fine. But he really should have gone to the hospital, man. He had a huge concussion. But that's the jock in him, He was like going to dive in the moat,
Yeah, right.
So that's the best way to
describe it. I was just about to ask you about that.
Kind of a jock.
I was just about to ask you about that boot camp.
Longest day of my life, that boot camp. It was more than 3 times. I said, "Is this the same day?" It was pretty intense.
Who ran it? Was that Dale Dye? Did he run that camp?
I don't remember. Perhaps it was 3 guys from the SAS in the UK. They were 3 of the guys who, out of the 8 who had jumped on that Iraqi when Iran took over that building in the UK and the embassy. They were the guys who parachuted on the building and swang in and took it back. These are some bad dudes.
Yeah, boat commandos. Yeah, they're badass.
Yeah.
Memphis Belle. Wow, that's an iconic movie. I mean, that was a great movie for a lot of young talent. You were there, and Sean Astin, Matthew Modine.
Sean Astin's in Charming the Hearts of Men too, so it was good to get to see him again on that. But yeah, no, it was an incredible cast, and it was honestly the movie to get that year. They could have had nothing but A-list actors on it if they'd wanted. Everybody wanted it, so I was very fortunate to be one of the guys to get picked.
Let's see. I've already know most of the Children of the Corn stories. Is there any rare children facts that you haven't talked about much? Is there a lost story that you can share with us?
Yeah, he probably has heard them all before. The only thing I can think of that comes to mind is I remember the explosion. To see my first explosion. And the cornfield blows up at the end. Of course, they did all this animation thing that makes it look cheesy, but I remember staying up all night because I wanted to see it because I'd never seen a movie explosion before, and I had a cold, and I was out there shivering. I almost gave up, and then they finally did it, and it was big, man. You could feel the heat blowing on your face.
Oh wow!
It was something I'll never forget.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about D.B. Sweeney. I wonder how that jock mentality paired up against Michael J. White. Probably didn't go over all that well.
Probably didn't go there. Yeah, because yeah, that's probably absolutely right.
Absolutely, I'll just put that in my back pocket. Let's see. If you could return as a character you played in a past movie, which character would you want to play again? That's a great question.
That's a crazy question.
Kenneth.
I don't know. There's a movie that I produced and am in and did a lot of music in called Benny Bliss and the Disciples of Greatness, and my character is dressed like something between Elvis and Evel Knievel. That was a pretty fun character to do. Got to do a lot of music. All the guys in the band were stone cold pros. Corey Britz, who's now the bass player for Bush, was our actor bass player before he was huge, and a guy named Martin Gigi who directed and played keyboards. He's the band leader for Gibbons from ZZ Top's band when he's on the road. It's like really good guys. So that was a lot of fun. I could do that again.
Let's see. Night Watch says, have you worked with any directors that you didn't care for? And if so, why?
I would probably never.
I don't know if you can answer that one because you want to.
I don't like to trash people too bad, but no, not really. For the most part, I get along with people.
I think they're all awesome, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna trash anybody anyway, but no one's really coming to mind that I absolutely hated. I've had, not that I want to give names there either, but actors can be more of a pain in the ass, and sometimes directors of photography can be more of a pain in the ass than the director themselves. Sometimes director of photography's got big egos. They're like, there would be no movie without me, and I mean they're right, but on some level, but we're all in it together, right?
Yeah, but I think the digital camera has really changed that game, because
Agreed.
digital camera, like I was watching Robert Rodriguez, and he was talking about how he switched over to digital, and he said how much he loved it because he could just film it. If it didn't work, come back, do it again, film it. He didn't have to worry about film.
It's a very different animal now. Obviously I started in 35 millimeter. I like 35, just the look of it, but I also like the reverence that there was more of a concentrated effort on the set because you were burning film and it cost money. So you had to get it right. So everybody was more quiet and more focused. Nowadays, everything's kind of loosey goosey and they keep rolling the camera while they're telling you what they want you to do. It just doesn't have the same intensity,
Right. So, I mean, I lead to another good question is because I appreciate the fact that you don't want to trash anybody, but my question is the opposite. What directors have you that you would just actually praise, like young upcoming directors or actors?
I just gave a shout out to Emily Skye. I think I said I'd like to work with her again. I really love that she DPs her own stuff too because she's getting exactly what she wants, right? Like whatever is in her director mind, she's actually getting it. I like that. I like hands-on directors like that. So she's one. Michael Caton Jones from Memphis Belle, I would work with again any day. What I really liked about him was you knew when he said cut, whether he liked what you did or what he didn't like what you did. And I like that. I like that sort of immediate honesty where I can literally tell if he's like, cut, oh, we're going again.
Tone of voice. He didn't have to even bother. He just, yep.
I just liked that I felt he was, he was giving you his honest feedback. And I want that, you know what I mean? And if you want to challenge me to be better, good, do that. It's like, or all of us to be better, good, do that. Like we're getting to the truth, Rob Zombie was interesting to work with because he really looks for the truth in a scene. I only had one scene with him in the original Halloween that he did, but we ended up shooting for 2-3 days because he reworked things till he found what he wanted, and I like that process a lot. Who else pops to mind? I'm trying to think anybody else right now. No one's coming to mind, but if somebody does, I'll throw it out. I'll throw my shout out.
Let's see. Let's see. What do we got going here? Let's see. Hans from the Burbs was the character that scared me. So that's what that was. Yeah. Let's see.
Creepy. I seem to do creepy well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, you know what? Because that's hard though. It's hard to do creepy well. I mean,
I don't know. Sometimes I do auditions and people are like, "That's great. Can you do it less creepy?" I'm not even trying to be creepy. What's going on?
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick because see if I'm waiting for some other questions here. Let me ask you about that. What do you think? Self auditions, the self taping versus in person. I mean, it seems to be a game changer. And what's your opinion? What's your feelings about that?
Well, I like it because I feel less pressure. And it's like, and if I don't get it, when you're in an audition, you feel the pressure to get it right the first time, and you only had the material for a short period of time. It's really easy to screw it up. So I like the fact that I can do a few takes, just like if I was shooting something. And I rarely do more than 3. If I'm not any good by the third one, I figure I'm just not going to get any better because that's sort of how I feel when I'm filming. So I like that. I like not having to drive to the auditions and such. But the other side of the coin is you wonder who's watching them, because I've done a lot of auditions that I thought, man, I nailed that, and I didn't hear anything back. So I'm just wondering about the whole process of who's really seeing these tapes once they're done. If it's some 20-something-year-old kid who's watching it first and may not know who you are or what you've done, and doesn't pass it on to the next, because that's the problem with digital now is back in my day maybe there'd be 300 submissions for a role. They put your headshot and resume in an envelope and they have a courier send it off, and that's how it was done back then. Now you're getting 3,000 submissions a day, because of digital. So the feeling of the fear of getting lost in the shuffle is there a bit.
What do you think? Do you think You mean is streaming good for an acting? Is it good for the for the actors and actresses because there's more roles, or is it bad because there's more roles, which means more competition?
I think more roles is good for actors. Certainly, I think the thing I don't like about streaming, and I'm worried about, and more for the next generation than myself, is the residual income. I mean, for a character actor like myself, or a mid-level actor like myself, many times that residual income is what saved my butt and paid my bills in slow times. If they don't have that, they're not going to be able. They're going to have a side hustle. They're going to have a job, and that's going to take away from their focus. And I think that there's going to be less good actors out there. Because if they can't make a living at it, they're going to have to do something else.
Yeah, right. I was waiting for a SAG-AFTRA to talk about that, because to me, I know you guys, when there's running for the board president, I see in the trades that they're vote for this person as the lead. And to me, is one of the biggest questions is that, because a lot of actors, they don't get any, even the older actors, or the ones like you said that you've done past work on, you got paid if your movie showed on TV.
Right.
But you get paid if you don't get paid.
Also video sales and things like that. So now with the streaming, and they're not being very transparent about how many eyeballs they're getting or not getting, or how many views they're getting and not getting. So there's because they don't want to essentially say they have any flops, I guess. It's very hard to track what impact we've had and what we'd be entitled to. So yeah, I don't feel SAG's done a good job about it. That's why I actually voted for Matthew Modine last time around, because he was somebody who was going to be actively fighting for that, and he unfortunately didn't win. I think he would have done it. I think he would have been a great president.
Yeah, I do too. You got time for a few more minutes? I know we have a 45-minute window, but if you do gotta go, I understand that. But if you got like extra 10 minutes, or
a few minutes, and if there's more questions, great.
Yeah,
if not, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, let's. Okay, I'll get some questions here. Of course, I should have known this would have been a good question. Do you still see John Franklin?
I do. He's one of the few people that I've truly kept in touch with over the years, and it's just partially because we're linked together at the hip because of Children of the Corn. So, conventions and various things, we're always reuniting. So John's doing good, and I think I got a couple conventions coming up this year. I think one in Gettysburg in August he's coming to. So we'll be seeing each other again soon. And he actually has my same manager as well, so convention manager and acting manager. So like I said, we're tied at the hip, he and I.
I would like to see you come to Cincinnati. Just saying.
Done Cincinnati before. That's a great show. I've done it a couple times.
Would love to see you there.
Do you have a favorite memory from this is from Night? Do you have a favorite memory of a convention?
Ooh, favorite memory of a convention. That's an interesting thought. I don't know. They've all kind of blend together at this point, to be honest.
Well, you're honest.
I'm trying to think. Well, one thing I did, it was a very small convention in upstate New York. I was close enough to get to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. So that was cool. So squeezed that in while I was there. So whenever I could do something, if I'm doing a job and then there's something cool I can do off the beaten path that I can like that's great. So that was an unexpected question. I got to go to see a game at Wrigley Field once too because I was doing a convention. I want to see a Cub game. So.
Oh, nice.
Probably not what this person meant, but those are the things that stand out to me.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Do you enjoy going to minor league games? Like, if you want to see the Reds or somebody like that?
Yeah, I'll go to a minor league game. I've seen minor league games in Portland, the Portland Beavers. Can you believe that's their name?
You have to excuse him. He was taking a shot as well at me because I'm from Cincinnati.
I see.
Yeah.
I grew up by Dodger Stadium, so I saw a lot of games at Dodger Stadium.
Oh yeah.
I got to go to their last World Series because of a guy I worked with, a friend of mine. He's in the Coast Guard. He sings the national anthem, and he got to sing it at one of the World Series games. How cool is that?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have a
last
silly,
round. I
I
got
have
a
a silly
question for
question.
you. I got a question
When
for you. Oh, hold on, Hobbs. I got
Go
a
ahead.
question for you from Whitey. It says Neil Gunatoli. Is he a nice? Is he a cool guy?
He is. He's intense, though, man. He's intense. I remember when we were all at the airport, and I saw this guy walking toward us, and I said, "Everybody else is there," and I was like, "Either this guy is, the guy I'm going to be playing opposite, or he's coming to kill us." He was just like, "Hey, what's up?" Neil's very bright, very intelligent, and very intense. I enjoyed working with him. He was a lot of fun to work with.
I'll get another question. Good. Now they're coming. How was it? How was it like to work with Linda Hamilton? I would think that would be intense.
She's a sweetheart, man. She's a total sweetheart. She still is. Every time we get to see her at a convention, it's great to see her. She's just, she just has a kind heart. That's the best way I could describe her.
That's great. Yeah, she rocks. She was really good in that and Children of the Corn.
Getting a lot of things, man. Terminator. Yeah, she's good.
I really like the fact. I really like the fact they changed the ending.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, hi, Jamie. Yep. Okay. Last round here. All right. So I'm sure there's more. I'm sure they're like.
I know.
What do I ask?
Yeah,
but unfortunately, we do gotta let you go. We'd like to have you come back sometime, though.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, ask your question.
Oh, yeah.
Would you prefer the alternate ending in the Burbs that they put on the special features, or did you like the way the movie ended?
We had three endings. We shot the end twice, and that big, that's a big scene with ambulances and police cars. We shot that twice. I would have liked us to have gotten off. I think that would have been a more interesting ending. Yeah. And the reason is because I thought that Tom Hanks' speech was so great. He makes the point, that everybody who, feels alienated or a little bit of a freak is like, yeah, it's not us, it's them, or it's not them, it's us. And then they let that audience right off the hook. I remember talking to Larry Brezhnev, the producer, who was a great guy, and I could actually give my opinion. And I said, "No, man, don't let the audience off the hook,"
Right.
But Universal was probably like, "Yeah, no, those are the people who buy the tickets."
I see. No, I get it. Well, that was my question. Thank you so much.
Good question. Glad you asked it.
Absolutely.
Well, we'd like to thank you, Courtney, very much for coming to do 8 questions with us. We will be on the lookout for. Yeah, it was more than 8. Everybody always mentions that. Wait a minute.
800.
I thought it was only 8. Why am I asking 20? We will be looking for you on Queen Bees, and also be looking for you on River. Both coming out, and your new EP will be coming out. Where can we get the new EP from?
People can find both my Acoutic Gains Vol.1 and Ripple Street stuff on Spotify, and you can find us on Apple and Deezer, and you can find us on iTunes. We're out there. You can find us, and there's also if you just look for us on YouTube, we've got plenty of music videos up to check out as well. And then you can find me on Facebook or on Instagram, and I always tell people, my Facebook's the one with all the, new current stuff that no one else would have. So you'll figure out which one's me.
Awesome. So we'll put the Instagram link and the YouTube link. Is it underneath your name, or is it underneath Ripple Street?
Both. You'll find stuff under Courtney Gains on YouTube, and you'll also find stuff in Ripple Street Band. You can find all our stuff.
Okay, so if you get a chance, everybody in the chat, go ahead and connect with Courtney on both, and so check out the latest music. I've listened to, like I said, I listened to Acoutic Gains. I also listened to Highwayman. I also enjoyed that very much. That's also on Spotify as well. Journeyman. Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, Journeyman. I got to play. Matt Sorum produced that, and Slash played lead on it. Can you believe that? That actually happened.
Yeah, I can, because I actually told my Slash story yesterday. I booked Slash. Slash a snake bit.
Yeah, it was it was an unbelievable experience to get to watch a master like that at work. Unbelievable.
Very, very, very nice guy. Totally talented.
Yeah,
one of those Kevin Bacon's things, right?
Yes, yeah, we can play. 6 Degrees of Courtney Gains. We can do that.
Thank you so much, Courtney, again. And again, I'm gonna be hoping that we can do this again sometime soon. And good luck with you and in the fort. And I guess we'll probably be seeing you at some conventions.
Yes,
And,
sir.
yeah. Thank you to everybody in the chat for coming in.
For coming.
We will see you back here tonight at 8 p.m. For Hannah Fearman from VHS and Siren. And she'll be here at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Take care.
For coming.
All right.
All right. So thank you so much for you can stay with us. I'm just going to talk us out a little bit. So if you want to, you're more than welcome to stay if you want to.
Well, I better hop off. I got another one at 3, so I better hop off.
No problem.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye. All right, folks. Thank you guys. Thank you guys in the chat so much for coming out and supporting this. Thanks to Hobbs here for co-pilot and being a co-pilot. Asking some great questions. Wow, what a great guy, man.
Hell yeah, dude. That was awesome.
Hobbs is
I've been looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to this for a month now. Yeah. Show love, give a sub.
Yeah, show love, give a sub. Especially me, because I'm getting close to 300. I can't believe that, Hobbs.
That's not years old. That's subscribers.
Thank you so much, Maz. I appreciate that. Again, thank you guys all for showing up. We will see you hopefully back tonight at 8 p.m. For Hannah. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, again, thank you guys all, and we will talk to you at 8. Hobbs, stick around for a minute. Peace.
Peace.